Good work today. They really came out and were focused and worked hard, and it was physical, and it was everything that we wanted on a Wednesday practice. So. What the heck are you doing here, man? Good to see you.
I drop in every now and again.
Yeah, okay. So it was good.
How's Nate looking? Yes.
Nate, okay, I don't want to be flippant, so I'm going to ask Nate Essay.
Yeah.
Nate, I'm being flippant when I said that. Nate Essay, I think he's doing well. He was on the side today on the bike, and it looked like his flexion was good, and he's practically living in the training room, trying to get himself ready. And I think he'll probably be a game time decision. I know he's just doing everything he can to get out here, everything he can, and we appreciate that. So hopefully he's ready to go. We'd love to have him.
USC's run game has really kind of ramped up. How big is that of a concern?
Well, I mean, it's a concern because you're right. They're really good running the football. They've got an offensive line that can move people out. They've got runners that can get downhill and make you miss, and they've got a nice pass game. So, you can't commit everything to the run. And when you commit to the pass and they run it, they're effective. So we have a lot of respect for it, and we're going to have to do an excellent job of playing with leverage and proper play entry and pad level, and most importantly, we're going to have to tackle well.
The defense has been probably the most consistent part of your team of the three main facets. Though, does that give you confidence going into this that can turn the game in your favor?
Well, I think we've played good defense. We've had a couple of, the game I go back to that bothers me the most, I think, is the Utah game, and then the last drive against Stanford. Those are a couple things that bother me. A few plays versus Utah, not the game in its entirety, but a few plays against Utah. But in general, we're playing with a lot of confidence on defense. And we're playing with confidence because our guys are working hard, they understand the scheme, they know what to do, they trust each other, and that's always a sign of, and they can run. And those are the signs of a good defense. So, I'm confident that we'll go out, we'll play well. But, once again, we're playing a very, very explosive and I'd say balanced offense. So it's going to take our best effort.
The flip side is that their run defense is pretty darn good as well. Obviously, you guys have had struggles in that. I mean, obviously, you don't want to talk about the game plan, but do you try to go away from a team's strength and emphasize something else, or how do you kind of match up as far as looking at what they do well and what you don't do well, and kind of reacting to that?
You go with a plan, and you plan based upon what you see them doing, based upon what you do well, or maybe what they have struggles with, and you do well, or you struggle with, and it's their strength, and then as the game unfolds, it always seems to adjust a little bit. So I'll just tell you this: whatever it takes for us to get ourselves in a position to win the game, that's what we're going to try to do. If that means we have to drop back and throw it 100 times, then that's what we'll do. If it means that we have to run it 100 times, that's what we do. If it's 50-50, that's what we'll do. It's just, you have a plan, and you go in and you make adjustments through the game based upon what's happening.
You've been in this rivalry now for a few years. What type of recruiting implications can a game like this one have?
I don't think they're as significant as most people believe. You're dealing with a monster over there, quite frankly. You're dealing with an amazing tradition. You walk in there and you see national championships and Heismans and retired jerseys, and you see some of the greatest players to ever play the game. We're fighting that all the time. We're fighting it hard, and we're winning our share, and they're winning their share. I don't know how much the game really matters. It's interesting, I won't mention the name because I'm not allowed to. Talking to a recruit last night, his parents, they grew up USC fans. They're Trojans, and they're not going to let him go somewhere else, whether he wants to or not. I'm not saying he doesn't want to, but it's, there's some kids you just can't pull away. And then there's some kids that grew up and they love UCLA, and they're going to come here. So I don't think that the game matters as much, the score of the game matters as much as just maybe their, the colors that they flew at their house when they were young, whether they were the the USC colors or the UCLA Bruin colors.
I know you've been pretty selective about game balls that you've given out over the years. I know you gave Mike one this past week. When you look at what he's done for this team this year, what was the calculus for you that you thought, he deserves this, or in terms of what he's meant for you and the team?
Just 5 years of a great attitude, 5 years of sucking it up, 5 years of kind of living in the shadows but never getting down or letting it affect him or those around him. 4 games where he had to go in there as the backup and we couldn't quite get it done, and it just seemed like the right thing to do to reward him. There's a lot of guys on this team that deserve a reward, but it just seemed like the right thing to do, to say, hey, look, Mike, we just really appreciate who you are and what you've meant to this program, and it's reflected in the fact that we got to win tonight and you get the game ball. Because I'm not saying his performance was the greatest of all time. It was a accumulation or a culmination, I should say, of everything he's meant for the last 5 years to this program.
When he had the option to leave for his grad year, did you say anything to him about the opportunity or have a conversation?
Never had a single conversation with him. Not even a whisper. I don't know if he considered it or how strongly he considered it. It was just something that Mike and I never talked about. Mm-hmm. So he maybe talked to someone else about it, but I don't even know that. Mm-hmm. I'm just glad that he's with us. That's what I'm happy he's with us.
There's been historically some step-up performances in the rivalry game from quarterbacks, Patrick Cowan, John Barnes. Do you ever reference those or go back and look at history? And do you ever use history when you talk to this team about things like that and how, obviously it's not going to impact the game, but maybe it's like a point of inspiration or something like that?
You know what, as a coach, you're always looking for a way to inspire and motivate and focus your team. And that's what you do, and it's really kind of all three. Keep them focused and on point with the right mindset, but, maybe inspire just a little bit extra. It doesn't take a lot in this game, or motivate them just a little bit extra. It doesn't take a lot in this game just because of the implications of the game. But if you can find something anywhere, anything that you can use to, like I said, focus, motivate, and inspire your team, to use it. And if that means going back into the archives and finding a particular play or a particular player at any point in time, then we absolutely do that. Not just for this game, but really for any game.
Being a former walk-on yourself, do you feel like you have a soft spot for stories or guys like that stuck around and they just worked their way to the top, like in that way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I respect all these young men that come out here and that are paying their way. It's not cheap to go to school here. It's challenging academically. I respect the heck out of those guys, and then to see some of the stories, and that's why I love to save a couple scholarships for walk-ons. We've had success. You get some young men that you're talking about Mike Faithful, but you look at Charles Dawson, the club. I mean, he's earned a scholarship. You go back and you look at LB or Rosie, those guys that made plays for you that were initially walk-ons, but their heart. I think it inspires a lot of guys. I think Mike inspires his players. I think they respect the hell out of him. Yeah, I do have a soft spot for those guys.
Mm-hmm. You have 2 more games with this senior class, but this is their last time coming out of the Rose Bowl. So what does this kind of senior class mean to you?
I love them. I mean, they're my guys, and I don't mean like they're my guys. I mean, they're the guys that I recruited. I've been with for. I'm watching Randall and Fabian walk off the field right there. I've been with those guys for 5 years. Met them 6 years ago. Been watching them develop on the field and off the field, and I'll miss them dearly, and I just want the best for them. And it's, you get really, really close to these guys. I mean, you get incredibly close to them. You become like they're your kids, they're your family. So it gets emotional. Senior day every year for me has gotten more emotional, more in depth as I've gotten to know these guys more, and this will be the toughest one yet. I don't even like talking about it right now. I don't like it. In yesterday, Jordan Zumwalt came walking in my office, and it's like the greatest feeling in the world. And the day before, Simon Goins came walking in my office, and he's back in LA, and he has 18 job offers. He's about to launch an app with with Brandon Willis, who came in the, it's just, you know, those are the great things about college football, is seeing them leave, become successful, and come back. It's awesome.
Any special birthday plans heading into the game?
We need to stop talking about that. I don't want to have a birthday. I'm like everybody else my age. I want to quit thinking about it. So, no, I would just, you know, love to have a great night. That's all. So.